Alright, so you have the green beans that landed down here, and they landed here to mine the resources. Alright, and one of the reasons they needed the resources, which was gold, the main resource, was their DNA was no longer imploding, which is the purpose of DNA. This is how you get the electrical charge through there, and this is how you get infinite compression, because right now our DNA, just like our sight, our ability to convert a part of the electromagnetic spectrum into what we see, you know, the little small part of electromagnetic spectrum that we deal with, we're locked in there, just like our DNA is locked into a small little realm of oscillation. And what do I mean by that? It's starting to sound like jogging to me too. What I mean by that is we only have a small area on the pH scale that we can move around from. Meaning 7 or 8, depending on your genetics, is where you need to be at for health right now. Okay, so if you go too low into the acidic state, obviously cancer, AIDS, so on and so forth. If you go too high alkaline though, ironically enough, even though you wouldn't think it, you also get jammed up pretty good. And that's because we're trapped within that small area of electrical capacity in the body. Alright? Because that's all pH is a measure of, is your bioelectricity in the body. Alright? So that's where they get the parts for per hydrogen and all this kind of stuff. You gotta remember, scientists just come up with a lot of big words and shit to confuse you and keep you from understanding what's really going on with your body and the world around you. Okay? When you look at the atomic scale, the what am I talking about, Tommy? Not the atomic scale. The chart with all the elements. What's that? The periodic table. When you look at the periodic table and you see all those atoms, it looks a little confusing, but it's really the hydrogen atom, or the hydrogen nucleus, I should say, with different charge values, charge densities, and so you're looking at this nucleus with different charge compression levels and different axes of spin, but it's the same nucleus. Alright? The same nucleus. Alright? You have that same receptacle, that same divine receptacle, no matter which one you're looking at. So if you stick a proton in here, an electron out here, that is what? One proton, one electron. What's that?
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen, you got it. Alright? So the moment we add 2 in, 2 out, we got helium, 3 in, 3 out, lithium, we get the 6 in, 6 out. That's the magic number for us, which is carbon, so on and so forth, 27 in, 27 out, copper, 79 in, 79 out, gold, blah, 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 blah. So it's all about electricity. That's what life is based on. Alright? I go in book 1, the Book of Evolution, volume 1, I go into oxygen. And how oxygen is actually a poison for the body. Oxygen is not, I know people looking like, did he just jump off? Did this nigga just officially go crazy? Maybe he's surrounded with too much whiteness. maybe he's surrounded with too much whiteness. He go crazy. But oxygen is a poison. And the body actually doesn't need oxygen. The body needs constant constant flow of electricity. All right, so that's where we get our electricity from, the air. All right, so now people look at it and be like, he's really going crazy. All right, if air was electric, we'd all get fried. No. What happens is the electrons, which make electricity. All right, for those at home that aren't familiar, what electricity is. All right, pause for the cameraman. I'm gonna have to tell my cameraman to stop moving. All right, people at home are gonna be watching me like this, like I'm a bobblehead. All right, so we're gonna need you to kind of focus. All right. Now I lost train of thought. What was I saying? I didn't forget. I was just chastising my cameraman. No, actually, I did just forget. All right, no. Come on. So we don't need oxygen. Oxygen is a poison. I know what I was saying. Electricity is basically just a procession of electrons. A bunch of electrons moving in one direction in one conduit is electricity, period. So you get a whole bunch of electrons lined up on a piece of copper per se. Copper is the second most electrically conductive metal, right behind silver. So you get all these electrons going in one direction, you got electricity. Alright? However, what we extract from the oxygen is just the raw electrons. Alright? In oxygen, the molecular structure of oxygen prevents the electrons from bonding the way they would bond in any other material or any other conduit. So from the oxygen, we can extract electrons directly, unlike from any other source. This is what the lungs do inside the body. So when you inhale properly, alright, for most of us, we don't know how to breathe properly. Again, this is all in the book of Evolution, volume 1. Alright, you have to know how to breathe properly. You should be breathing through the nose, not through the mouth. The nose is equipped with a very high-tech filtration system. Alright? You got your capillaries, you got all kinds of little fuzzy hairs in there. And let's touch on that real quick. Hair actually serves a much bigger purpose than we think. Alright? You have the hair on your head, the hair on your underarm, the hair in your intestines that helps you process the food. That actually helps turn the food from the intestines into blood. You have hair inside the ear which actually converts sounds so that your brain can understand it. Alright? So hair is very important, and the reason I'm saying that is because when you perm your hair on your head, remember, every part of your body is connected through the bloodstream. So when you perm your hair ingests the perm. The perm goes into the bloodstream, perming all the hair on your body. Alright? So you're damaging your sense of hearing, your sense of sight. The rods and cones in your eyes are hair. Alright? It's just a different name. It's just a more descriptive. Hair is a general term. Rods and cones would be a specific term. So I would say people, alright, I'm a person. Okay? But then we could say Minister Inky. Right? So we could say rods and cones, which would be equivalent to Minister Inky, or we could say hair, which would be like saying I'm a person. Alright? But these are all hair. So we have to take care of our hair. Where am I at? Right. So the nose has this high-tech filtration system, and that's how we're supposed to breathe, only through the nose. Only through the nose. This is how the electrons come into the body. It goes into the lungs. The lungs, and how that electrifies the blood. Okay, because you're not actually really breathing until your cells metabolize the electrons from the air. All right, everything else that we breathe in outside of the electrons, we just release that shit back into the air. All right, we don't need that. It's all poison. So what happens is your blood goes into the top chamber in your heart on the right side, then down into the bottom chamber on the right side, and then it goes into the lungs to pick up some electrons. At that point, it goes into top chamber on the left, bottom chamber out to the body, then the body, the heart pumps it out to the veins, then the veins pick up the work with the arteries and pump it around to the rest of the body from there. So it's actually the content of the electricity that changes the color of the blood. So a lot of times doctors, they use the terms like oxygenated blood, which is red, or deoxygenated blood, which is that bluish look. Alright? This is basically electrified blood versus non-electrified blood. Alright? So when you see people that are palish blue, you can tell that the life is draining from their skin. Alright? Because life is electricity, it's electrons. Alright? So when you have more electrons, more electricity in the body, you are more alive. The more you can store in the body, the more alive you are. This is why the significance of melanin is so crucial, because melanin is all things electrical, just to be honest. I mean, it can receive, it can send, it can store, it can transmit, it can transmute different types of electricity. And when I say different types of electricity, because sound is a form of electricity, light is a form of electricity, music is a form of electricity. All these different things are forms of electricity. So this is what you're dealing with when you're dealing with melanin. Alright? And obviously, the more melanin you possess in your body, the more electrical capacitance or capacity you have. Alright? So, where we at? But don't get caught up with the melanin being like brown and black. Okay. Light has different colors based on its performance level and intensity. So we get all hype and say, you know, like, I'm black and I'm proud, get on our James Brown shit. That's cool. But what we have to understand is that the brown and blackness is based on us living in a toxic environment to our flesh, to our cosmic suit. Okay, our cosmic suit in its optimal healthy state is green. Green is the highest level of phototropic activity. Alright, so when we're looking at green, that is the highest level that light in our part of the spectrum can perform at. The highest performance of light is green. Okay? That's what's in our electromagnetic spectrum. And that's us. The highest performing level of light around. Because all we see is light. We have all the melanin in our body, which makes us able to use the light at a much higher level than any other organism in our kingdom. And when I refer to kingdom, I don't mean like Manhattan. I don't mean Harlem. I don't mean the Bronx. I don't mean America. I don't mean Morocco. I don't mean Egypt. I don't mean Kemet. I don't mean Tamaray. Alright? We about to blow the goddamn roof off of this entire conscious community, because a lot of these teachings are old. Alright? And a lot of us are just regurgitating old information from old men. And that is tough for us to swallow. Tough for us to swallow. But when we look at these men, all of these men, okay, all of these men, all of them, from Dr. Malachi Z. York, Farad Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, Muhammad, I mean, whoever the fuck you want to think of, Clarence the 13X, Isa, Jesus, Buddha, all these men, okay, stood on the shoulders of other men, meaning all these men were taught and schooled by the best scholars of their time. Okay, however, it's been recorded, whether the information, you know, came to them in the whatever. We're not going to get into whether it came to them in the cave, a dream, or whether they just, you know, went to the library and sat down. The point is, all these men were studied and stood on the shoulders of those that came before them, and took the information left to them and took that information to a higher level. Okay, and they took it and made it applicable. Okay, those are the two things they did. They took the information, made it applicable to their time period, and then from that point on elevated the information to another level. Okay, it's the same thing as somebody right now still teaching about, you know, the benefits of a wheel. You know, it's beautiful. We invented the wheel a long time ago, but now we need to take it to the next level. Alright, what's the next level of transportation that doesn't involve wheels? Alright, this is what we need to be doing with the conscious information, which encompasses all levels of awareness and awakeness. So that's all consciousness is. But we keep saying conscious community, conscious information. What are we talking about? Conscious information is almost like an oxymoron, because real information, in order to have real information, you got to be awake to some degree. Alright, so we're just going to start busting it all up. Alright, and be a gentleman. You got some information for me, you got something, you think something I'm saying is wrong, shoot me a message, shoot me a comment. Alright? Don't show my moms and my grandparents and my wife. Don't go off on me and make me your enemy, because I'm not. I'm your brother. And I'm putting this together so I could teach you something that I've learned and I've studied. And if you got something to teach me, let's do it. But right now we only got, we got a small window. We got to teach. Alright? We got to maybe another year and a half before it's ugly out. Before it's ugly out. Alright? And so we need to get focused. Alright? So don't get caught up in this color thing. Alright? The white man is not the devil. Alright? White man's not the devil. Alright? He's a devil, but he's not the devil. Alright? And it's up to us to heal the white man. It's up to us to heal the white man. If the white man is sick, if whiteness is a sickness, if whiteness is recessiveness, which white scientists and white institutions and white jackets and white laboratories have proven on their own. Alright? So this is coming from, your Dr. Mendel. This is coming from your best to your best to your best. Alright? They say that the hue or color traits are dominant over colorless traits, which would be recessive, i.e. eyes that are very dark in color are dominant, eyes that come in blue, green, so on and so forth are recessive. Okay, so how long do we spend as earthlings, right, with recessives dominating the majority of people, which are dominance. This is crazy, right? And how long are recessive people going to be happy about recessive traits and not look to improve upon these traits? Alright? Because if I got recessive eyes, then I'm looking to see how I can get dominant eyes. Or, you know, my arms are weak, I'm looking to go to the gym and pump them up. Alright? So we got to get past this whole skin color shit. Alright? Because the higher functions of the human emanate from within. Alright? You got melanin centers on the inside. And right now, thanks to interbreeding and bloodline mixing, you have people that are very dark skinned on the outside with very little melanation on the inside. You have people that are very light, even white on the outside, that are super melanated on the inside. Alright? And you never know how it works out. You know? Watch your man Blake Griffin. Alright? So, we got to start just looking at this whole thing a little different. Alright, so anyway, our people came down, they were green. This atmosphere, which, or environment. Alright, when you take the word environment, the center of that, the environment is a word that's kind of similar to your red blood cell. Alright? The reason that we are brown and black now as opposed to that green, right, is because we have iron at the center of our blood cells now. And if you look at the word environment, iron is at the center of it also. Okay? So, just the environment on Earth, is actually toxic. Period. To us. And the fact that we have brown and black skin is evidence of that. Now, that gives us the ability to fight this environment off a lot more than our melanin challenge people. But make no mistake, this environment is still attacking us as well. Okay? Still attacking us as well. This is why antioxidants are the #1 health craze. Okay? Antioxidants. What's an oxidant? An oxidant is something that oxidizes. What oxidizes? Oxygen. Okay? And if you take oxygen back to its Greek roots, you'll see that it was based on poison. That's what the term is. Alright? Or acid or fire. Alright? So, you know, we have to really dig into this physics thing. Everybody's like, oh yeah, man, thank you. Physics man. Where your damn physics? We keep seeing these YouTube clips about, you know, rights or race or police brutality or the debate. It's like, give us some science, brother. Let us judge your content of science that you would like to inject into the conscious community's think tank. So I said, let me go ahead and you know, let me go ahead and start getting the basics together, so you guys can see what I see. Alright, so I had to start you back there. Alright, so that's very crucial. We don't have the beginning, we don't have the backdrop to the story. Alright, and now it sounds like I'm talking crazy saying we was green. But if you look, they're trying to attribute a lot of the great things that we did on this planet to green people and flying saucers. Okay? So that's the trick. The trick is we don't see us in those green people. But if you look at the green people, the carvings, Okay, you look at the Sumerian reliefs, the reliefs beyond that. When you look close at these beings in these flying saucers, they have big nose, big lips, big beards. They look like Sunni Muslims with dreads, right? Just the easiest way I could put it. They got the big beards with the dreads. They're like a combination of Sunni Muslims and Jews. You got the dreads with the crazy facial hair. Alright? This is it. And when you look at them, the Sumerians, the Babylonians, reliefs of these people, these beings, these entities, whatever you want to call them, they're our ancestors. When you look at them, they look just like the full life pictures of the Olmecs. Because when you look at the pictures of the Olmecs, they always try to show you the face first. You know, and it's only select Olmec statues that they show over and over again, when it's tons of them shits. But they show only a few because some of them are just way too revealing. Alright, so they try to show you the ones where they could argue. Alright, was the guys African or were they Mexican? I'm sorry, I thought those were the same two people. That's like a Jedi mind trick. Okay, it's the same group of people. Alright, and it's crazy because when they start like hanging motherfuckers and putting niggas in gas chambers, you're either white or not. Alright, but when it's something that benefits them, then we broke it down, and you know, you Jamaican, Mexican, African, black, Cuban, Brazilian, like you got 100 different things, 1,000 different titles that'll divide you at that point. When they put niggas in ovens, it's just either you white or not. So, you know, stay focused and keep your eye on the sparrow. Alright? So, boom. Getting a little crazy, so let me go back and recap real quick. So the green guys came down here, get some resources. There was a bunch of these little creatures all over doing their thing big time, and this is kind of where white entitlement comes from. Alright, because you have two species on the planet. You have these green beings that came down here. Alright, and they keep track of them, and they keep track of these two bloodlines on the planet. Two bloodlines. Alright, and it's called RH positive and RH negative. Those green folks, RH negative. The next group that they eventually evolved in a lab from those monkeys are RH positive. RH stands for rhesus monkey. That was I mean, there's tons of creatures here, but they were the most populated, and they kind of were running shit. You know what I'm saying? So the entitlement comes from those, comes from the fact that somewhere deep inside that blood, those monkeys, that monkey blood, they know they were here first. So technically, looks like our bloodline was not the first on this planet. Alright? Looks like our bloodline might not have been the first on this planet. Alright? Those little guys were running around here first before we dropped down. Boom! Alright? Now, how can we be sure that the green guys from all the way back then have somehow turned into the brown and black people? How can we be sure that the true heirs of the RH negative bloodline are not white people, and that they are truly black people? And why is this even a question? If I just said the white people are not the devil and we have to get over the color thing? Because the royal families are in royal positions because of their bloodlines, and because they trace themselves back somehow to these original green people with the RH negative blood, and they keep very strict track of this, very strict track of this. All right, but if you take a if you take something green, right, and you pull it from its natural environment, right, it will oxidize on its own and you can watch it oxidize. It'll oxidize into brown and then black. Alright? And that oxidization is based on the content of melanin that the object contains. Alright? Because what heat does, or what being outside of your natural environment does, they both have a similar effect. The melanin goes into, overtime, emergency time, and it like pops up all over the body for protection. But that's what it does. It pops up for protection, and it pops up to convert electricity, light, different forms like that. So that's why when you're in the sun, you're bombarding yourself with electromagnetic rays. The melanin inside your body has to come out to the top to start converting more of that stuff. The more obviously you're submerged in the light. This is why you get darker and darker and darker on the skin as you stay in the light. Okay, because more melanin has to come to the surface to convert that stuff safely into nutrients, vitamins, and all the kind of good stuff that you need. Even stuff that you don't know you need, because we haven't even documented everything. Alright? But if you look around, you can see a small crack, like in the Wizard of Oz, how they look behind the curtain and see the little guy. Alright? So you can look behind the curtain and see the little guy, because 99% out of 100 prayers today, regardless to what your religious beliefs, end in Amen, Amun, Aman. Why? Secret societies, when you go through etymology, see who their god is, they all worshiping Osiris, Amen, Aman, Amon, Re, Amon Ra, the perfect black. Okay, brother. So if they're worshiping the perfect black, what the hell does that have to do with you said that we was green? Osiris, Osar, the perfect black, is also known as who? The Green Man. Also known as the Green Man. Wait a minute. Minister Inky? We thought he was known as the Green Man because he went around and taught everybody farming and vegetation, and if you want to live long lives, plant grapes. Grapes are responsible for extending the lives. This is why, if you notice, the first fruit that they started to fuck around with and take the seeds out of, it's the grape. Because the grape is crucial. Alright? And what you see on the market mostly is seedless grapes. Alright? To stop all the anti-aging properties, take that out of the fruit. Alright? So you'll still get some health benefits out of these fruits, but you're going to keep aging. You're going to keep getting older. You're going to keep dying. Alright? That's what they're taking the seeds out of the fruit for. But yes, Green Man. How does that relate to being the perfect black? Like I said again, it goes back into physics. When you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, the alpha and omega of the alpha and omega of the alpha and omega. The alpha and omega of the electromagnetic spectrum is blackness. Alright? You're coming from dark matter into dark energy anyway. Alright? And the small percentage of the electromagnetic spectrum that is visible to us corresponds with the small percentage of the brain that we are available to use, as well as the small part of DNA that is understood right now. Okay? So all these things correspond to one another. And as one changes, so do the other. But again, the blackness and the greenness. So the blackness is in reference to the perfect black being reference to our ability to function within that electromagnetic spectrum, and the fact that we encompass the electromagnetic spectrum within our makeup. Alright? So him being the perfect black is just symbolic of that. Now, him being the green man is also symbolic of that, because when you take the electromagnetic spectrum in our small visible band of it, green represents the highest form of light function in our band. Alright, this is why money is green. Alright, and this is why they don't really teach anything about green. Alright, you don't teach anything about green, because then you start to figure out certain things. Alright, you'll figure out who you are. You'll figure out how money possesses people. And it does. And you're no different. Moment you get money, instantly a spirit out of nowhere starts coming into your mind and your body with all these things that you have to purchase. Purchase. And it's like, the day before you might have been broke as hell and you was good. Or you might have been broke for a week and you was good. The moment you get that cash in your pocket, now you have to spend it. Why do you have to spend it? Don't spend it. Hold on to it. We have a spell that's been placed on us. A lot of this stuff is magic. See, if I know that a group of people were originally green, right? They still have an affinity to green, right? I can manipulate them with the green, because they have an affinity to it. They're attached to this color. They are a part of this color. They are this color. Okay? So now that we know that we were originally green, and we can understand a little bit more of the attachment to money, right? We can see how it's so weird that we are 80% of the world's economy. 70-80% of the world's economy. Us. We spend all that money. Okay? And if we are 70 to 80% of the world's economy, that means 70 to 80% of the world's money goes through where? Our hands. How come? How come 70-80% of the money goes through our hands, but we are the poorest? How is that? Because maybe for us, money means something different than other people. Alright? Maybe we understand somewhere on the inside that green is a transition. Or not even a transition, but transition is from one thing to another, but it's just, green is not,